my Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. So first and foremost, here's what we know in Pittsburgh is black and yellow time up in here. Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. That's right. So Pittsburgh gets the W. Classic Steelers W. Classic Mike Tomlin win, 18-16 over the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens, this is my favorite stat of the day. Ravens score 2 touchdowns. Steelers score 0, and the Steelers win the football game because, well, it's the Steelers. So I thought this was my favorite. I do a segment every weekend called every Friday called If I Were a Bet Man. Basically, there's 3 games I'm like, hey, I don't bet, but if I were a bet man, I'd hammer this game. I looked at the Steelers. I said, let's see. They've won 4 in a row. They've won 4 in a row. And they're playing exceptional defensive football, great offensive football. They're at home, and they're underdogs against the Ravens, who've been susceptible on defense. And Lamar Jackson, who historically has been, how should we say this, bad against Mike Tomlin's Pittsburgh Steelers. Get to Pittsburgh in a second, but the big story in this is Lamar, who coming into this week, it felt like was the, shoe-in, runaway, not even close MVP frontrunner. And I had the audacity to push back at the show and say, see what Saquon Barkley's doing in Philadelphia? He's got to tear it up right now. You see, I kept saying, folks can look back at the tape. I'm like, Josh Allen's having an MVP caliber season. Like, if Lamar plays poorly against the Steelers and Allen beats the Chiefs, Allen might be in front in the MVP race. And sure enough, most odds makers say Allen is the favorite to win MVP over one Lamar Jackson, who against everybody else in the NFL, that isn't the Pittsburgh Steelers, the team that knows him best, the Kansas City Chiefs, who've owned him historically, and the rest of playoff opponents, or teams, or not playoff opponents, teams in the playoffs. Can we show you what Lamar Jackson's done? He's been unreal. He's been unreal. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the game. He wins 80% of his games, 166, 57 touchdown to turnover ratio, 276 total yards per game, completes 66% of his throws, and he has a passer rating of 104.6. That is Lamar Jackson against everybody not named the Chiefs, Steelers, and teams in the playoffs. Of course, we show you that other, and it's not very good. As a matter of fact, it's awful. Lamar Jackson against the Steelers, Chiefs, and in the playoffs, he is 4-12, more turnovers than touchdowns, has almost 300 total yards per game, but a lot of that's boosted by some garbage time yards against the Titans years ago. Completion percentage of 57 and a passer rating of 74.6. Lamar Jackson, there's no other way to put it, ain't very good when you need him to be the most. By the way, I say this. Ravens fans get mad at me, but I've said this for years. I love Lamar Jackson. I think he's one of the 3 best players on the planet at his position. We've never seen somebody be able to be as impactful running the football. As a thrower, I feel like he has gotten far more criticism than is warranted. I love Lamar Jackson. I love his demeanor, his leadership, his hard work, the way he plays. Love him. But there's a little bit, I don't even want to say a James Harden factor, because when people say, oh, this guy's James Harden, I'm like, I put Harden in a different tier, because I've seen Harden straight up quit in playoff games. Like big game 6s, I've seen Harden quit in those spots. Never, ever seen Lamar Jackson just mail it in, ever. That's not who he is. But I do have to put him in a little bit of a Joel Embiid category. Now, Embiid is more injured in the playoffs than Lamar is, but it's a similar factor where these are MVP caliber players. These are guys that a lot of folks believe are one of the 5 best players in the world at their position. Or not at their position, just in the league in general. Why are they never, ever, and I do mean never, anything close to that come playoff time, come when you actually need them to be? And I love Lamar. But against the Steelers, he's terrible. He's 1-4. And against the Chiefs, he's 1-4. And against the rest, playoff opponents, he's 2-4. That's kind of where we're at with this particular player. And again, I think is it mental? Is it coaching? Is it the fact that the Ravens, for reasons I can't comprehend, this is a run-first football team, and every time, again, this is where it goes on John Harbaugh a little bit. Every time in the biggest of games, they say, you know what? You know that thing that worked for us last week and the week before that, and we're like mauling teams. Listen, if there's one team in the NFL that you don't want to play at 1 o'clock in their building, it's the Baltimore Ravens and the Detroit Lions. The Ravens and the Lions are your number 1, number 2 picks. Let's go away from literally everything that works and throw it 36 times and barely give the ball to Derrick Henry at all. He had 13 carries for 65 yards, averaged 5 yards a carry. At points, he did make an impact against the Steelers. He didn't have that fumble early, which helped us, obviously. Thank you for that little gift, Derrick. But Derrick Henry's an impact player every time he steps on the field. Why does he get 13 carries? When your quarterback is struggling, when your quarterback's not even completing 50% of his throws, why don't you give the ball to Derrick Henry and give him an opportunity to settle your offense down, keep the ball away from Pittsburgh's ball control offense, and get yourself established somewhat of an offensive rhythm? Why is that? So that goes on John Harbaugh. But when he does give the ball to Lamar Jackson, it'd be nice if you were not 16 of 33 for 207, a touchdown, a pick, and a pass rating of 66. That'd be nice if you're a Ravens fan. Now, some of that is the Steelers. Some of that is the fact that Mike Tomlin is and continues to be the best situational coach, he and Andy Reid, in the National Football League. There's no question about it. When you consider what this man does when it comes to fourth quarter tight games, even when Russell Wilson, with about 9 minutes to go, throws as bad of an interception as I've seen all season in the NFL. Like Russell Wilson, they're down inside the 10-yard line. He's rolling out. He's rolling to his right and just throws a little lollipop up into the end zone into double and triple coverage. It obviously gets intercepted because these are NFL defensive players, and it cost the Steelers 3, maybe 7. It could have very easily turned that game around until Peyton Wilson, the rookie linebacker, who I loved out of the draft, comes in, makes a great play on I think it was Justice Hill on a wheel route, and then turns the ball right back over the Steelers. Listen, the Chiefs and the Bills to me are the clear 1 and 2. Either way you want to slice them in the AFC. I don't think there's any question about that. I don't think anybody reasonable would argue that point. Steelers the clear 3. It's kind of like what I say about the GOAT debate in the NBA. Like, it's LeBron and Jordan are like that, like neck and neck. Then you go a little bit and you get to Kareem, and there's a big old gap with everybody else. That's how I feel about the AFC right now. Houston's not in the same league as Pittsburgh. Baltimore's clearly not better than Pittsburgh. Lamar Jackson cannot beat us. He's 1 and 4 against the Steelers and has played bad in every matchup against that team. So I think, listen, these are, it's an indictment on Lamar that in the biggest of games against the team that knows you the best, the Steelers, against a team that has owned the NFL, frankly, for the last 5 years, the Chiefs, and against playoff teams, you're terrible. But on the other side of that coin for the Steelers, that's kind of what Mike Tomlin does. That's kind of what T.J. Watt does. You see the play T.J. Watt made, meeting Derrick Henry in the backfield, saying, no, sir. You may be King Henry everywhere else, but this is my house. This is my territory. This is what I'm going to do to establish my presence as the best defensive player in the game today. Listen, if you look at Pittsburgh's schedule moving forward, and this was kind of the thing with the Steelers, this is why I was kind of skeptical about my team coming in, is didn't know what I was going to get from quarterback play, and Russell, that was by far his worst game as a Steeler thus far. But what was the second half of the schedule starting to look like? All of a sudden, it's not that bad, other than a 3-game stretch in between weeks 15 and 17, where you go to Philly, to Baltimore, and you face the Chiefs at home on Christmas. Other than that, at the Browns this Thursday, at the Bengals, who are reeling right now, home for the Browns, and you finish the season at home against Cincinnati, who will likely be without Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase because they'll be out of the playoff hunt. So I think for Pittsburgh moving forward, and by the way, thanks to Buffalo, the Steelers control their own destiny to get the 1 seed. Now, I don't know if we'll get it, but it's there. It's open. We're going into week 12, and the Steelers have an opportunity to control their own destiny to potentially claim the top seed in the AFC. So it's a testament to Mike Tomlin and his situational coaching. It's a testament to the best defense in professional football. It's a testament to the Steelers' offense. By the way, it's also a testament to Chris Boswell, the special teams, obviously. Justin Tucker, who's been a shell of himself going back to the AFC title game against Kansas City, coming into now, is out there complaining after the game, talking about the playing service wasn't good. Bruh, Chris Boswell, the quarterback, the kicker on the other side, they're going 6 for 6. And by the way, one more Steelers stat, we'll move on. Fun Mike Tomlin stat here. The Steelers are 2-0 this season in games that they do not put the ball in the end zone, do not score a touchdown. Something. Not many teams can do that. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.